Yeah, we're just gonna do a commentary over an episode of Atlanta with no sound and talk about the visual storytelling based purely on that fact. That's all.
So is there a reason to this? Are you trying to see for something or what?
No. You just see conversations here and there about the lack of visual storytelling in certain mediums, and I just wanted to see if with this time of content and all this we just got through talking about, does modern media have essential visual literacy when it comes to their TV shows?
So you're basically trying to prove a point.
Not really prove a point. I just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, that you did. If you go to season 2, episode 8, it's called Woods. It's one of my favorite episodes from Atlanta. You can watch all of them, really, but man, this episode season came out in 2018. I gotta hurry the fuck up.
First one came out 2016.
It's fucking ridiculous. I encourage everybody to watch along if you have Hulu, because that's where it's on. By everybody, I mean the 3 people. I'm getting through the ads right now.
Oh my gosh. Why do you have ads on your Hulu?
Cause it comes with ads.
I gotta upgrade, man. Come on now.
No, I'm alright. You send me the money to upgrade and I'll do it. I'm on 1 second.
Congratulations. Okay. Are you on the TVMALV?
I do see the TVMALV thing.
Okay.
And remember, I have ads. So.
Do you really? All throughout?
Yes, nigga.
Jeez. All right.
It's fucking Hulu. What you thought?
I don't have any ads on mine.
But you stealing it.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess just tell me when your ads pop up.
I will do
All right.
that.
On go, we'll start it. On go, we push it. We push it. Play. All right. So 3. Well, hold on. Wait. I'll start over. Um. In Atlanta season 3, Atlanta season 2, Atlanta season 1. Go. FX.
See the FX sign.
Fearless.
Fearless.
Yeah. Sure is fearless, ain't it? Did my ship freeze? Oh.
No, I think it's taking its time. So for this, man, I want to hear what sounds. So for this episode, this is basically all Paperboy, and his disillusionment with the loss of his mother, and his life, and where his career hasn't gone yet, and where it could go. And we start here with him laying on the couch. His mother cleaning up in the background. Mind you, she has passed away. So this is in his mind. This is more of his conscious. And this part, get up. The good and wild did not raise a son that's lazy. He said, get on up. This is great because that means a few things. And then she leaves. And he's on the couch. And I love this shot. I love that house. It looks so lived in and real, he's not in a good way, even though a lot of things in his life is taken off. And then the lights go out in the kitchen, meaning that's over. That, you know, that apparition, if you will, of her. And then he looks back and there's nobody there. That's like longing. That's kind of what he wants. But he's so down as he lays on this couch, you know. He's in his own head a lot and almost a self-sabotager. You see the beer cans on the table and everything. And he keeps looking. Because all he wants is his mother. And Ern calls, asks him, did he look over some stuff? Need to be signed by Wednesday? He says nope. He ain't got a chance because he's wallowing in himself. He's throwing a pity party, if you will. And he has a lot of opportunities on the table, and he's longing for something that's not there. You see how dirty the room is, his state. He's not okay. And this is all said, you know, man.
What does his shirt say? Robert?
Huh? It says Howard, I think.
Oh,
Everybody want to
that's
be
a
in here.
kid
It's
then.
time to be in
Am I
here.
crazy? It's not Howard. It can't be.
I don't know what it said. I thought it said Howard.
Like you said, Robert.
But that opening says so much without saying much at all. His mother being there when she's not there, him not signing those papers, all of the self-doubt and the wallowing in his self-pity and the self-sabotage because he could be so much further, but he won't allow himself. And you'll see more of that later. And he finally gets up. See, what's his name? Darius making something.
What's Paperboy's real name?
Damn, what is his real? Alfred.
Okay.
Sierra ain't my girlfriend. That's the girl who's helping him out, try to make that next step in the rap game.
You think they've already written season 4?
Yeah, I think it's done.
Okay.
I think they just think they're gonna start shooting soon. I think they either already have or they ain't started yet. They need to get going though. This is some bullshit. You see that outside of that?
Because honestly, I wouldn't mind if they just did like, you know, like do a couple of episodes when they can, then release those, and then do a couple more when they can. You know, it's just like
I don't want that.
it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they really that busy, like, I'll be like, Donald, just write like 4 episode seasons and make like 12 of them over the course of like 6 years.
Nobody wants that with you.
I mean, that's like the British. It's like the UK.
And that's what we don't do
Y'all
UK
really
shows.
Come on, man.
So he gets in the car with Sierra. Something like a manager, I guess, if you consider her that. But they also kind of seem to got a relationship. But you see, he's still not okay. He's still going through stuff in his mind. And she's obviously something of a baller. She used to dance. She was a stripper. So she probably ain't really that much of a manager, but she thinks she is in her mind. Well, that's kind of... Man, well, fuck it. I feel like, well, I don't know that, but no, I do. I'm not no damn manager. But,
why'd you think she was a manager?
No, she kind of is something. More like a social media influencer type thing.
I guess. Because I mean, like, Ernst is manager.
But I think but she's more of a social manager. I don't know. She wants to be something like that.
Okay.
Because she gives him advice later on. And he says something right there, and she laughed it off. I'm not sure what that was. What have you been noticing so far?
Just in the car, all the shots of her are from his point of view, or have him in it to some degree. No isolated close-ups of her like there is of him, like right here.
Yes, it's a good point.
Like whenever, see, that's from his seat. You can see that's like his his vantage point. And then
and she's celebrating him being on the radio. That's very big for them. My thing is going to a commercial.
Oh shit, my fault. Yeah, like the vantage point whenever they're in the two shot together, she's always out of focus and barely in the frame. And whenever they're talking together, and then whenever it's just her, it's obviously from.
It's a great use of direction. It's very much telling like his state at the moment. He's not good. What you thought of that opening with his mother and everything?
I thought, I mean, I wouldn't have known that was his mother, but everything I saw just let me know that that's what we're supposed to be paying attention to, and that's what he cares about. So it was good.
I love this episode because I think without this episode, you don't get the rest of this season, and I think that's why I was here. And a lot of people say like a lot of this show is random, and I think it is random to a point. I think that's obviously on purpose, but I think episodes like this are so focused. I think every episode is focused, but I think this episode is so focused, and it has such a meaning and an intent behind it. That's why I picked it. It's my favorite episode of this show, I think, because it's amazing in terms of like him at the beginning and him at the end, and it's so subtle. It's so well written. It's so well directed. Even the shots and the shots and reverse shots used. Okay, it's back on, and right now it's back.
Okay, they're in the clothing store.
They're in a clothing store. He just walked in. She's about to try to get him right. And obviously he get himself right because he's a grown man. But just you see, you should get these shoes. He like, I ain't got no interest in those. Look like no damn black Aladdin. And the dope boy from the hood that won't last. See, she's almost trying to help him, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna stay in my lane." And she's saying about that money. I'm trying to help you out, basically. People gonna get tired of seeing a sweaty nigga in a polo and cargo shorts. Nobody wants somebody famous to look just like them. And he's fighting against being famous because he's like, I'm a real nigga. And she said, "Man, who cares if you have your manager get them for you for free?" Yeah, that ain't happening. Yeah, why? And he basically saying, "Earn don't make no money either. You don't know how to do all of that." And she's like, "He don't get you nothing free." Because they just regular
Are they
niggas,
being
basically.
watched real quick?
Huh?
Are they being watched in the store?
Yeah, a little bit. You saw that it was very subtle. He said,
No,
"You know,
it's
girl,
something else I noticed too. But go ahead.
she said you need someone who's working for you." And she said, "You need to get somebody who can get you in those doors." And this kind of opens his mind to that thinking later on about, is Earn really good enough? It starts here. Can we get some assistance? You see how nobody walked up to them, asked them what they needed.
So there's a thing at the beginning of the shot I didn't know because I'm not watching, really paying attention. But they did alert it with the white man who was looking back, and those white girls who looked back who was out of focus. But when it started, it was far off. It was like in the corner. It was behind some stuff, almost like the shopkeeper watching them from far away,
Yeah.
keeping tabs on them. I thought that was pretty good.
And you see, she's getting pictures with people because she's famous on IG or whatever. And people come up to her and they don't come up to him. And he has a song on the radio and nobody knows who that is, except the people who will know later on. So now they're going into the facial eyebrow place. She's trying to get his feet taken care of and stuff.
You ever think
She's
about
trying to make.
you ever think about Alfred? He's kind of a weirdo. Like he ain't got no friends. Like he ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like he's weird.
He's very much a loner and he's very much I would say introverted maybe.
But
But it don't seem like he has problems in crowds or nothing like that. It just seems like you said, he's a weird guy.
but you know
He
what I'm
don't want
saying?
to be on camera.
Oh,
He don't.
also, this shot here, that's a shot from the lady from below, looking up at Alfred.
Yeah.
It was just I'll point it out again when they go back to it. But what was I about to say? Oh yeah, like I feel like a modern day real life version of Paperboy is like Real the Young OG. But Real the Young OG is like a personable guy. He is like a street dude rapper who ain't signed, who only makes hood records for the internet. Really, and it's got a big following on the internet, but isn't like a dude you would know like in the mainstream.
And she just said, "I'm Instagram fan. Look, can't be selling my janky wigs. Got a computer with white girls with lip fillers." She's trying to cross over, wanting really him to come with her, but he's like not really. But also he's depressed. I think that's what it is. He's depressed, and he has to act like he isn't because he's a rap star or something of a rap figure.
All right,
Um,
so something goes along with your point of view. It looks like Hong Chow. It'd be crazy if that was her, but nah, she's too young. Each shot now features her always, and
because she's
the only two shots of them together, she's in the center of the frame. So like you say, she's getting his attention with this conversation. You see how he's now on the edge and she's in the front,
yes, yeah,
based on either his point of view and that now he's paying more attention to what she's having to say, like you said.
yep. And he just said like, I'm not with all that fake shit. And she laughed. He said, that's funny. She said, shit, you on the radio, you making money. She said, you been not real. And that hit him. You can see like he was like, shit, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how she's talking to them, it's kind of turning him off. He was kind of into it for a second,
That shot thing.
but then like it ain't. Yeah, you see how she's dominating his like, it's on him, but she's clearly taking over. And she said, you gotta talk to them like that when they're talking shit. She's not even that famous, but she feels that, right?
Yeah,
And
but now you see the visual language when she starts acting like a fool that he's kind of embarrassed. It shifts back to him and he's less interested in what she has to say. Now it's an isolated, close up.
and you see what she said. She said, we hanging paper boy. She not calling him Alpha.
And then you have this shot where they're separated by the lamps, like
Yep.
either they are reality or he feels it that they're just separated by what they represent. And now you see the shot. It has a return to that shot of her being in the center of the frame with him on the outskirts. You know what I'm
And
saying?
you saw she said we could be good together. We could be really good together, whatever.
But this is the visual language I think telling him he's like this ain't working. Like he see with the picture. Then that's when they get back in the center of the frame. Now
Yeah.
she's no longer. Now it's him because he's like fuck you. And now they're kind of trading off like who has the energy in the scene based on the frame. Yeah.
She said, permission, nigga, you famous. And it's really a case study about like, famous people and how they feel, but also I guess when you are famous and you don't want it, but it's too late. And then he leaves. She said, well, wake the fuck up. Like earlier, remember he was laying on the couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She said, I drove, I can walk, ho. That's funny. It's going to another commercial.
Okay.
So I think you broke down those shots well. I didn't notice that one about the lamp. That's a really good one. It did show the space between them. I just love Brian Tyree. He's such a great actor. He tells so much in his eyes and his mannerisms and how he looks off and stuff.
Yeah.
He's really great at showing like because it was at one point when it was sitting there when he was kind of into it, and then like stuff started to happen. I think right when it was before when he was like, I'm not with all that rapping. I'm not with all that all the famous stuff. And she was like, nigga, you been famous. You making money on the thing or whatever. But even before that, he kind of just started like pulling back. I think when she spoke to the people a certain way, he was like, I think that's too much. It's almost like she shot herself in the foot. But then again, like a lot of the stuff she was saying, it might not necessarily be bad. And that's the crazy part. Like, do you have to change when you get to a certain status? Can you continue being yourself, or is that detrimental? And that's the whole thing of this episode, where Paperboy is grappling with like who he was and who he is now. Even though he's starting to kind of get to a certain place, and it's a very fascinating episode. It's about to get even more fascinating, and that's why I really just love this episode. It got 8 seconds, 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay, it's starting back up.
Okay. Is he walking in the parking lot?
Yeah, he took his shoes off.
The trees in the background. Obviously, this is just like the world. They kind of I don't know, a striking image. His head is at the top of the shopping center, so the trees make up his like thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, almost showing what he's
It's a
about.
nice little look. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is dead.
So he's seen walking under all of these places. He's kind of boxed in, but you continue to see the trees in the back, like he's still in the forest, and now he's in the shade. He's walking past the pillars and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
and now he's sitting outside of a crystal's, eating a crystal,
In the woods behind him. Yeah.
very depressed, and they keep showing the woods and the trees behind him. They're not letting you forget that he's in the woods. He's not out of them yet. Thinking about you today, I guess that's somebody else. That's probably a girl or whatever. Or that could be his mother. I didn't think about that. That could be. And that's kind of a manifestation. And that's why the number wasn't saved and it didn't have a picture in there. I didn't think about that. Because now he's walking,
I think the point is it could be anybody.
it could be anybody. And they continue to show his chain, his cross right there. Very present. Now he's seeing some fans and they know him. And they recognize him. And you continue to see the trees. And they're very present in that shot with the three guys right there. And right here especially. Said, so what you doing here? I'm just living, man. You alone?
Where is he going? That's my
He was just walking. He said, I ain't allowed to walk. Oh, you keeping it real. And look how he looks. He knows something wrong.
Walk in the city.
He knows something wrong. And they said, well, shit.
Honestly, I'd rob him too, to be fair. I mean, he is like in the middle of nowhere, sort of.
And they put out a gun. He grabs it.
That's lame of his friend not to beat the nigga ass. Yeah, there you go.
Wow. That's crazy.
I'm just saying, he grabbed a gun, had a good 10 seconds. What if he got that mug out? Like, they was really fighting that man. I mean,
He said, I got his watch. That's all it was for.
It took, I mean, true, but it took a good minute for them to start punching that nigga.
He tried to take the chain.
Take the gun, bro. Come on.
I think he did rip his chain off.
It's robbing season.
It's robbing season. But he's being robbed of much more than just his chain. And he runs, and I love this shot coming up. He runs into the trees.
I still can't believe he take that gun.
Hey, hold on. And it doesn't. Hold on. It's gonna show. It's crazy. He's running in the trees, and they did a slow pan in, and they're screaming for him. And hey, Paperboy, trying to find him. And you see they showed his chest. That chain was gone.
Well, yeah, the chain.
And he grabs a piece of wood. He puts it over his chest.
What does this remind me of? I mean, it's something. Well, I guess every slash movie I've ever seen.
And he's laying there. Bloody. His eyes closed. And you just see the trees. So he waits it out. He gets up, and now it's just him. And it's trees everywhere. Shrubbery, bushes, branches, everything that we saw in the shots earlier. Now it's encompassing it. As it was like kind of moving in closer on him. Now it's here. And he's just in it. And he starts to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And now here comes this shot, I think. Oh, it's coming soon. He sees the dead deer. Basically a representation of himself. And a man humming is what it says on a closed caption. The man's echoing what he's saying. And he's laughing at him. Oh, there he goes. So I'm just passing through, so looking for them boys and bad boys. So they went that way. And they went that way. And they went that way. We pointed up. So you can't go to the dance without no money, boy. You see this shot,
Mm-hmm.
the trees, and that's you're so deep in it. And that guy said, "I lost my baby." Could have been anybody, his wife, his mother, his child, whatever.
So, enjoy my baby.
It's going to a commercial.
Okay.
So what you noticing now?
Wait a second. Okay. None, just more of that, the wood stuff. Um, the close-ups on him, he was center and frame when the old guy came, or the crazy guy. He was bottom right, facing literally the edge of the screen. He had no headspace, or no space in front of him, no nose space, and that's about it. I should have paid more attention when the boys were there. I was watching, but I was like watching what was happening, and I wasn't paying attention to like the blocking. Mhm. How are the commercials? Good commercials? Stuff you want to buy?
Shut up.
I'm just curious.
This one for Cosmetics.
Is you is or is you ain't my baby?
On me a rice cake.
You
The rice cake be bust.
you ain't no kid. Stop talking like that.
Made some wheat spaghetti last night with meatballs. Fire.
What kind of sauce?
Regular out of a can.
Out of a can.
Yeah.
I gotta make y'all own.
No, we just add onions and stuff.
Mush up
Uh,
some
it-
tomatoes. You know
it's
what I'm
coming
saying?
back
Buy you some fresh
on. It's
tomatoes.
coming back on now. It's back on.
Buy some fresh tomatoes. Put them in the blender. Make you some good sauce.
So now it's dark. Um, the trees have gotten more menacing. More close-ups on like the leaves and such.
Vegetables and such.
Very much dark, like a shroud is around him, right? And he's walking, but he's walking very slow. Like he's tired. Um, he's breathing heavy. He's
Where
obviously
is this light coming from? This is the moon.
the it's the moon, yeah.
But those trees were dense though.
And the man is humming a melody. You say you in bad shape, and there are flies buzzing. He's back with the deer. Been walking in circles. He said that's you, deer good.
Has he checked his phone, or did they steal it too?
I don't think he has.
Okay.
Say you're stubborn and you're black.
What did the old man think he was white?
He said, "Boy, you just like your mama." Could be a representation of his dad, maybe, and that's why he said, "I lost my baby." They don't think you can outsleep me. So he goes to sit down, taking a break. He said, "Why are you sitting?" "I'm tired, man. I had a very bad day." he picks up alcohol from somewhere or whatever that is. Because I need to think. Ain't nobody could do that. Nigga, you so damn useless. I think that is supposed to be his father. Better watch how you talk to people, digga. He said you so useless, basically like you didn't do nothing. Sit around in people's houses insulting them. Because that ain't even his house, I guess. You better stand up and make a decision about how you getting out of here. Make the decision. Saying like pick what you want for your life. You keep standing still, you gone, boy. You wasting time. And then he breaks down. Starts crying. All people who got time are dead. And if you're dead, I'm gonna take them shoes. And you see he's crying. That's and your wallet. That's everything coming out. The depression over his mother, his life. You know, you'd think he'd be happy with a budding rap career, but you know, he's so sad. And he falls again. And there's no cross there, and it's very visible. He said, I'm gonna count to 30. If you ain't walked out of here by then, I'm gonna hurt you. Cause ain't nobody out here but you and me, boy. And he gets up and he starts running. You notice. He says, like, he's gonna start running. And that's why they had that laugh. And he starts running because, like, he's saying, you wasting your time. And there's howling in the distance, like, this animal's coming to slaughter. If you don't get up and do something, you're gonna be dead. And he runs and he's out. Almost immediately. And now you see all the lights shining. Even though it's still dark, and then he starts crying. And he looks back, and it's just the forest. And he starts laughing. And there's still light right there as he walks off. He leaves the darkness of the forest to the lights of the 24/7 or whatever it is. Or the 7-Eleven, rather. And it's going to a break.
Okay.
I love that little part. That whole part right there, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, give thoughts, nigga, damn.
The old man was the only person to have a single shot without Alfred in it at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was. There's multiple shots of just his feet moving, and you said the thing about the shoes, so I assume there's something with the shoes. I'm sure there's something that has to do with something else with Donald and them thinking of him and his writers, but also like
Well, no, he has to keep moving.
yeah, and niggas in their shoes as well. Um, all that. It's There's a two shot there, the same two shot that was in the fucking salon, or yeah, the nail salon of him and the girl, except they were separated by the lamppost, obviously, but there was nothing separating them. There was a tree behind them, I think, but it wasn't separating them in the same way. That jagged difference. But yeah, like I said, and also same thing that happens. The point of view of Alfred was the old man's point of view from that camera, and that's the only time it ever happened too. It usually is from his point of view of someone else, but then the opposite happened.
That was the only body with a real POV. Okay, it's coming back in 2, 1, and it's coming back on.
Okay.
So he's in a gas station. The woman looks at him this time because he's dirty, not because he's black or whatever. I mean, it could have been both, but and you got the brightness.
She was black too, no?
Huh?
She was also black, right?
Yeah, but I'd be scared of niggas.
All right.
He gets the drink to put on his face. He's dirty, but everything else is kind of pristine around him. You notice, and it's a slow moving. And this white boy walks up, asking him, "Is he Paperboy?" And he starts laughing, and he thinks about it for a second, and he's like, "Yeah, I am." And you see he starts to present himself. He pulls his pants up, put his thing down, and he tried to make himself a little bit more presentable. And then he asked, "Did he want a picture?" He didn't wait on him. And then he said, "Yeah, I got it." And he gets for the picture, and he makes a face. He said, "I got to get like a mob face." He'll do it again. And he makes a face with a bloody grill, and he's leaning into that persona. He's like, "Yeah, if I'm gonna be this, I gotta be this, and I gotta." And he makes the kids' day, and he said, "Be safe out here." And that's the 11 Mirror Willow Dean Kiss. And that's the end.
Great episode.
I freaking love that episode.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Who wrote this episode? Did they say?
It said directed by Hiro Murai.
Did they say who wrote it though? Did I miss that part? I missed that credit.
I don't think it came up yet.
Hope not. I want to see.
Oh fuck! I accidentally went to the next one. I was trying to see too who wrote it, but I can look.
I mean, I can look it up on Wikipedia. It's not that big deal. Yeah, I think.
But yeah, man, I love that part. He laughs. He like, "You Paperboy?" He was like, and he pulled that sleeve down and tucks his shirt in, and it's so slight, but he's like, "Yeah, I got to do this. I need to do this. Otherwise, why am I doing this in the first place?" Then he makes the concentrated effort right there. And then everything that happens after, from north of the border to Crabs in a Barrel, it happened because of Woods. You don't get that. You don't get the rest of this season without that, because then he's like, I have to take this seriously because I'm already in it. I either cannot do this or I can take this seriously. And he starts to look at Earn different because he's like, you're not taking this as seriously as I am. And that comes in north of the border, which is Earn's kind of episode to kind of really readjust and figure out what this is. And then in Crabs in a Barrel, he makes that, at the end of that episode, what happens? He makes that decision, and then and Paperboy is like, I need somebody like that, Earn. I need somebody who gonna make those decisions. And Earn don't say nothing. He just sits there because he's like, yeah, I know. And they had that moment, and it starts with Woods, man. I'm telling you, bro. I'm getting excited just thinking about it because I freaking love this show, bro. It's so good, bro. And when people be like, it's just so random, it is, but it ain't. It's one of the best crafted shows we got. That's why I wanted to come back so bad.
So the writer was Stefani Robinson.
Is that a girl?
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Jeez. What the hell? I thought Hero and Donald would have wrote that one. I don't know.
You know, he also writes with like Fam and like his brother and stuff, so it could have been any of them.
Oh yeah, I forgot he wrote with his brother sometime.
Yeah, she's mostly a producer on different comedy shows for FX. She's a producer for Fargo, What We Do in the Shadows.
Atlanta. See, if I was gonna be in a TV, in a studio, I would love to be in FX.
Yeah, she's also a writer. Let me see if I can find her credits.
I found a New York Times article. It says Atlanta season 2, episode 8, is Al finally ready to be Paperboy. So I guess they kind of think that's the last thing. It's that Al lacks a hustler spirit. My favorite scene of the episode is one with the. I got a few favorite scenes. It's the beginning one with his mother. That might be my favorite scene because it sets up the entire thing. And he's laying there. He gets that call about the papers. He's like, and you notice, Darius is in it for a second, but Earn is not. And I think that's important. I think you have to differentiate. Like you have to keep them apart. And you do get talking to him. You do get to hear him, but the fact that he's not there is important. He starts with his mother and her being like, "You got to get him clean. You need to clean up." A lot of imagery of like getting like keep moving, cleaning, getting better, moving on, like having to get up and do something, like make yourself do something. And his mother starts with that, like, you gotta, and then she turns the light off and it's dark. And all the imagery of dark and lightness at the beginning, when she turned the light off in the kitchen, he looks back, it's dark. At the end, when it's darkness in the forest, he gets out and it's nothing but pristine lights. I love the juxtaposition. I love the dialogue. Like when the dude has the knife and he's saying all that stuff about you gotta get up because time is running out. And the only people who waste time is dead people or whatever, or who got plenty of time. He said, you don't have no time. You got to do this now. And that sets up a very high pace for the rest of the season. Like everybody's rushing because it's like we know what happens with rappers when they don't capitalize on their moment. It goes away, and he has a moment. He playing that song on the radio in this episode. It's coming. It's here now. You have to, and he realizes that by the end, and that's why on North of the Border, he's telling Earn, we have a moment right now. You got to be locked in. And then they talk about it in Crabs in a Barrel. I think Darius and Earn, when he was like, he loves having you around or whatever. He just thinks that you need to. He just hopes that you're serious about it or whatever. I can't remember the conversation, but it was something like that between Darius and Earn. Everything starts here, and I have nothing but good things to say about that episode.
I agree. Couple of things to note. Like you said, the slow pushing at the very end was almost like menacing, and then you see like a young person come up, especially based on what we had saw from those other three guys. You would assume maybe something bad would happen. Just about building tension because this is like a horror-ish episode.
That's a great point. Maybe he was getting so ready because he was gonna have to fight again.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's probably his point of view. And I think the camera also does that as well without even having to know that.
But I also think it was part of that, like, because he came up stuttering and stammering. So I don't know if he thought that he was in danger. But I do think that presenting thing, I do think that was there as well. I think that under the text and in the subtext, like him presenting himself, like maybe like, yeah, I kind of do need to be this person. But it also could have been him thinking like, I might have to fight this dude again. So
possible. I think the camera definitely was doing that. Also, the difference of, like you said, not being adversarial, you can just tell by the way it was shot that he wasn't as and his performance also, very much so. That he wasn't standoffish in any way. That he was he was more approachable than he was with the other guys. Maybe it's because they came up so high energy, possibly. But yeah, like you said, at the beginning and the end, the beginning it starts, he's just laying down, he's already in frame. At the end, he actually walks off frame to end the episode. So he actually makes the choice to like leave our view versus like us just starting on him and him not moving and that things happening around him versus him like deciding to take the picture and then to walk away. So yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah, I love that episode so much.
Yeah, cool.
Which one did you want to watch? I love to watch all these, bro. Go through all these, bro. They crazy, boy. They crazy.
If we were to do it, I would do that on a different episode. So maybe end this one and then start another one. Is that okay?
And what?
In this ep, start another ep.
Oh, you're talking about like later on.
Or even immediately, but just not on the same ep.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So, is that it? You got anything else on that episode?
We can wrap this up. Yeah.
I said, do you have anything else on that episode?
No. We can wrap this up.
All right, y'all. Look, the first episode of the watch along. Go watch Atlanta if you haven't. Especially the episode of Woods in season 2 is amazing. It's perfect TV. And we're gonna holler at y'all later. Placeholder, yeah.